Right, let's go.
All right, here we go. Happy Saturday, Edgy Soulmate crowd. Today, Jen and I are coming to you with some Schoolnet goodness. Now, if you're not familiar with Schoolnet, and I really think that most people are, Schoolnet is kind of like to me, I feel like it's like an item bank for a variety of subjects that is the closest thing you're going to get to a standardized state test.
Mhm.
The questions that are in the item bank are very similarly structured to EOG, EOC, um, Carolina final exams. So let's go ahead and just dive right on in. So I'm going to So you access Schoolnet through NC Ed Cloud, which everybody's familiar with. That's how you get into Canvas. That's how you get into PowerSchool. It's this little white house right here. And when you open it up, it'll tell you welcome back. And there's always this, information on the front page. There's lots of things on this page. I rarely look at this page. It's not really something that I use a whole lot. When I use Schoolnet, it is to make formative assessments.
So actually, when you scroll down on that page, Sam,
Uh-huh.
um, down where it says Classroom Assessment Monitor, I
Hmm.
love that feature when my kids are actually taking their tests.
Okay.
It will pull up data as they're taking their test.
So because it's like a Proctor dashboard kind of thing.
Yeah, essentially. And so that's really nice for that. Currently, none of my classes have anything that I can pull up, so or else I would show stuff.
Yeah, and that's kind of the boat I'm in because most of my stuff in here is my STEM stuff, and then my first grade stuff, the classes that I'm assigned, we don't use Schoolnet for first grade. So if there's been any new features that were released this year, I've probably not messed with them just because I haven't utilized Schoolnet yet this year.
Yeah.
So over here on the left-hand side, you can see some different things. So the KPI dashboard is something that administrators talk about a lot when they talk about Schoolnet because it will give you district level, school level, classroom level data. So this is the school where I work. You can see um, it kind of gives you student academic performance. You can do all kinds of drilling down with this. You can change your grade levels. You can go in here and create a student set if you only want to look at a certain grade level or if you only want to look at your EC students across your school. Excuse me. It gives you all of that. It gives you student academic performance. Like I said, administrators seem to like this page a lot.
Mhm.
I really don't mess with it. Like as I said before, that's not what I really use Schoolnet for. There is a reporting dashboard. Now, this is more of a class level dashboard. So you can see, you can go right here. You can change your class selection. You can look at benchmark tests. You can look at student reports, like by student. Hang on just a second. Mom life.
Yep.
It happens. So you can kind of see there's not really a lot here to report for me. You can just kind of see different things here on the screen. So you can see kids' names. You can kind of go in and see benchmark stuff. If they have tests, you would be able to see test results, um, standardized tests. Um, I didn't even know that you could do this. Huh. Okay, so you can do end of course test, end of grade. So you can go in here, I guess if you select the right stuff and
Mhm.
you have the right access, you can see the information there. You can build new reports, but again, the nitty gritty of it gets down there when you get to assessment. So classroom, um, If you want to, you can do student grouping here. You can do a lesson planner. Have you ever used a lesson planner in this, Jen?
I went through the training at LCPS with that. And we definitely used it and learned about it and planned in it. And then it was, gotcha, we're gonna use Canvas instead.
Yeah. Um, I've
But
never used a lesson planner
there
feature in.
there are materials that are out there that can be that are supposed to have been shared. So
Mhm.
instructional materials, that's where that's at. Um,
Yeah. Now I do like the instructional materials place. Like
yeah,
this.
and so you put those into that lesson planner, but I feel like, I would just rather download the instructional materials and use my LMS.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I click on one of these, this is a lesson plan, and it gives you the content, it gives you your aligned standards, um, so you can view additional properties. I wonder what it'll show me if I do that. So it tells you where it came from.
And things
That
have to be vetted. They have to go through a vetting process to get in here.
Yeah, so they're good. They're good instructional materials. Like they're solid stuff. So there's lesson plans, and you can go up here, you can filter it out by a variety of different things, by a variety of different grades. If you find something that you like, or oh, that looks like it might be interesting, and you don't really want to go all the way into it, you can just save it, and then you can go back later and go to My Materials, and you can see everything that you have saved. So you can kind of go back in and dig a little bit deeper into it. So there's one. You can, you can see it gives you different things. You can align the standards, that kind of stuff. But here's the nitty gritty of Schoolnet, and this is why I love Schoolnet. This is the assessments piece. If I can get it. Okay, assessment dashboard.
And while you're getting into that, let me school admin, masters in school administration, like caveat to throw out here. There are ways in Schoolnet to make a express test. And I'm going to say that I'm guilty for making express tests all the time. However, express tests are not the route we should always go. It should not be our standard go-to. We should be looking at drilling down to ensuring that what our students have been instructed on is what we are testing on. Make
Yes.
that they're mastering the skills. They do not always have to be multiple choice questions. We can do fill in the blanks. And so we want to make sure that we're making more custom test, even if we do the express test feature, that we then go in and add in some more personalized questions to our class and our content and the way we instructed.
And I will say this too. I have made express tests before too. But what you really have to make sure that you do is you go into it before you assign it to kids, just like anything else that you're going to give to kids. Make sure you've previewed it first. Make sure that it really is what you've taught. So you can see here when you open the assessment dashboard, these are tests that I have made in various stages. And these are the 10 most recent, but just for fun, just because I want to show you all this. View all 161. Um, so that is a lot of stuff that I've done on Schoolnet, and you can see I've named them different things. I will tell you one of my biggest hints is to figure out a naming convention that works for you and stick with it.
And high school
Um,
teachers, remember that our occupational course of study students, we do not need to label this OCS. It needs to be indicator assessment instead, because OCS is something that is going out the door. We don't want those students to feel like they're different or we don't want to ostracize them. So by labeling it indicator assessment, that is what the state is asking of us this year.
okay. Um, you can see here, like I've got my own little naming conventions going on in some places. If it's just listed with a standard, then that is a single standard assessment. That is something specific and targeted that I created. And I'll, just kind of scroll through. I went through a series of single standard assessments. I was creating them quite rapidly for my school. At one time, you can see a lot of the dates are the same. But let's get into the nitty gritty of how to create your own test. Now, depending on subject area, there are better ways to do some things than there are others. So we'll talk first about math, science, things that don't have reading passages attached to them. Things that have reading passages attached to them, ELA particularly, is a whole different ball game in how you want to create your test, because you don't want, if you have a 10 question assessment and it's an English or a reading or an ELA assessment, you don't want the kids to have to read 10 different passages, a passage in a question, a passage in a question, a passage in a question. So I'm going to start with how you would create something math, science, CTE. So you just go here to create, you click on it, and you can see express, manual, answer key only. Jen, what do you usually do? What's your mode that you usually go into?
Typically I go and make an express, and then if I'm adding more personalized questions, I then go add the questions in at the end.
Okay, so we'll go through express. Okay, so ask you to type in a test name. I'm just going to type in sample. It asks you to pick a subject. Just for fun, let's do math. It lets you pick a grade level. Now, if you are teaching students that you know are below grade level and you're kind of trying to see, maybe it's the beginning of the year, the beginning of the semester, you're trying to see what they know. It's like a baseline assessment. You may want to step down a grade level from what your target area is. I'm just going to do third grade. Then it asks you to choose your standards document, okay? So anything with an asterisk beside it is like the standard course of study. You see CTE, there's dance, there's English language development. These extended ones, that is what we would call OCS. Those are the OCS standards. Is that correct, Jen? If I'm remembering that right?
Yeah, they're the ones that would take the extend one test.
Yeah.
So I know that that's going to be your self-contained students. And I believe OCS students also take the extend.
I think they do. Health education, IT, music, you can choose from all of these different things. Of course, because this is a math test, I'm going to choose mathematics. And then test category. Now, this has always confused me because I have never been able to figure out what the access difference is. I feel like if you are creating it at the district level, then that's, you have more options. What do you know about that?
The school assessment, so when I make all mine a school assessment always, and the other teacher that teaches Microsoft at my school can also see my assessment. So he could essentially, I believe he could use it, but typically I would want to co-author with him.
Gotcha.
Not 100% sure, but I know like I can see his assessments because he always makes his the same way.
Gotcha. So I'll just go with school assessment. I don't want it to just be an answer key. You can go in here to score type. I've only ever used total score. Some item defaults, test item defaults.
These are new this year.
Yeah, I typically don't mess with these.
I do like the 2 columns occasionally.
Especially if you're printing.
Yeah. But honestly, we don't print as much anymore, so I don't normally stress as much about that.
Yeah. Test settings. This, again, I don't mess with that much either. You can go in there and change your accommodations, but this is for the whole test and for any kid who takes the test.
And I do like that you can have a self-assessment on it. I feel like maybe in COVID times that might be a great option to enable.
Yeah, like how do you think you did on this test?
Right.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, I'm going to hide that. And then test restrictions. This has to do with what the students can see and when they can see it. So if you want them, and this is new. I've never seen this before.
Mhm.
This must be something they've rolled out for distance learning,
Yeah.
I guess, to kind of discourage cheating.
Well, they used to have the hide correct answers, but it was in a different section.
Hmm.
Because I always had mine that it would hide correct answers and it wouldn't open up until the week before final exams when we were doing reviews.
Gotcha. Okay. So then I'm gonna just go on to select standards. Whew, my internet is so slow tonight.
Schoolnet also takes a million years, so just be
It
patient.
does. It really does. All right, so you can see that it's already got in here. It's already plugged in my standards, my subject, my grade level. And then down here is where you could actually start selecting your standards. These numbers over here tell you how many items there are available in that area. The plus buttons mean that you can always expand. You can keep drilling down until you see if when the text turns black, that means that's as far down as you can go. So you can see if you wanted to do all of geometry, then you just click there. But if you wanted to just do triangles, quadrilaterals, decomposing quadrilaterals, you would need to drill all the way down to there. So again, making sure that you are testing students or assessing students on what you have taught. Um, so again, you can see it drills all the way down. I'm going to go to operations and algebraic thinking and multiply and divide within 100.
They do that in third grade now.
Yes,
I did
yes,
multiplication in sixth grade.
yes,
Oh my gosh, my poor.
yeah. So here we go. Know from memory all products with factors up to and including 10. So this is fact fluency essentially. So that's what I'm going to choose. I'm going to hit add to test map.
Now there's 116 questions.
Mhm.
So this is what you're gonna see next is kind of my downside, I feel like, for express test because now it's gonna say um she can apply some filters there, but ultimately it says that there's 116 available items and you're not picking and choosing those available items.
Okay.
You are gonna say I want 30 and it's gonna pick them for you.
So
The
the
downside of express test.
Yep. So the filters are can be kind of important. You can do item type. You can go in here to blooms, but I will tell you a lot of these questions, especially I don't know about high school, but a lot of the questions I've encountered are not tagged for blooms.
They're not.
It really doesn't matter if you click here. I will tell you you definitely want to do your question language because if not, especially if you're doing science or social studies or something like that, you will end up with 500 million questions in another language um, that you have to dig through. Personal experience right here. I'm always like, why are all these questions in Spanish? It's because I forgot to change my question language. All right, so I always do English. Um, all of this is item statistics, which I'm sure somebody with a bigger brain than I have can tell you all about. I have never really messed with it. I click apply filters. The only thing I changed was English.
And I don't think they normally put anything in there anyway for that.
Yeah, they don't tag them.
And I for me for high school, I look through at the beginning of a semester if I actually have questions for my course. And I try to break down and plan my course so that like, okay, I know that section 5 has 100 questions, so we're going to break it down into 4 different tests,
Mm-hmm.
25 questions a piece. But then I do have to go in and break it down, but typically mine's broken down by like objective and then micro objective, and so that makes it easier.
So you can see when I filtered by English, I went from 116 to 80. So then, yeah, here's where you would choose. I'm just going to put 10 in today, 10 out of that 80. And like Jennifer said, it is a random 10. You don't know what 10 you're getting. And it takes it a few minutes. It's going. There it goes. Okay, and so here's where you can actually see this is the first draft of the test. So you can see these are all multiple choice questions. Oh no, this is a gridded item. Okay, so like if you were teaching kids to do gridded response, then here it has a gridded item from the bank.
Is that something that would be on the final exam for third grade math?
No, third grade typically does not do gridded response. I think gridded response starts in fifth.
So if you click on the actions drop down menu over on the right, you can replace.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will allow you to then search through the bank.
Yeah, so now I can see the whole 116 again.
Right.
So I can just go in here and I can find another one. Okay, I like this one right here. What is the product of 2 and 5? I just click add and it swaps them out for me. Hopefully. Yes, it did. See, so now you can see there for number 3, I now have what is the product of 2 and 5. Oh, but it was the next question down.
Whoops.
Okay, well, my test has 2 questions that are the same. You want to make sure that you don't do that. And if I were not, we weren't like, I, don't want to spend a ton of time here. So I'm not I'm not gonna worry about it right now.
Right.
All right, so this is what it looks like, your private draft. You can print from here. Like if you're just printing this test, you can print from here. The student test booklet, you would just hit PDF or DocX. It would pull it up or download it. You can print the answer key.
If you have a student that's marking book, like there are still a few children whose mamas say on their IEP, my baby can't take a test online, even though that's technically tapping the button is marking in the book. They need a paper pencil. This is where you can get that, and it makes it easier.
Is there anything over here that you want to?
Phoebe, stop. I know. Phoebe wants to put her input. If you click on schedule information, excuse me. Thank you. Okay, the schedule stuff's on the next page.
It's because I'm not there yet because I'm still in private draft.
Yeah.
You can
I think everything's
tests, like you can reorder your questions.
Answer
If
choice
you want
pattern.
yeah, you can change your answer choice pattern. You can change the question numbers. There's a lot of different things you can do in there, but we're just going to roll on.
You can also add instructions.
Yes, forgot about that. You can add instructions here. Yep. Something, if you wanted them to do something a little different. All right, so then what you're going to do is you're just going to click this blue button that says make public.
Oh, they probably couldn't see that button because I think our faces are covering it. Let me go.
Yeah, I have to move it.
Move.
Yeah, there's a button. There's a blue button that says make public up at the top.
Up here.
Yep. And so now this is the public draft. It looks the same as the private draft. But now other people can see it. It's no longer just something you can see. Right. When you are ready for your, you've looked at it, you've double checked it, it's like you want it, then you click in the same spot it says ready to schedule. At this point, it comes up and says, hold up, are you sure you're ready to schedule this? Because once you schedule it, you can't change it. So that's kind of a nice little tidbit there. Something else that you have to do before you do that, if you're doing text to speech for kids, you have to generate the text to speech before you schedule. Or no, you don't. You can still do it there. Generate text to speech. So when you click that button, it'll tell you. That way, if you've got kids who've got read aloud, there it is right there. That's your text to speech.
Bam.
Yep, it's really nice.
Yeah.
All right, so back here under schedule information, you can actually do it in 2 ways. You can do schedule test, or you can schedule here. And this is where you change all of your stuff. Your start date, your end date, your score due date. Prevent students from launching the test before the start date or after the end date. If you just want to lock them in, they can only take the test during these dates. You would check that. Prevent students from accessing the test results until after the end date. You don't want them to see how they did on it until everybody's done. Then you click that. Prevent scanning of answer sheets. Your kids are not going to have answer sheets probably anyway. And then here is where you would assign it to your students. So you would select your assignment. Oh, it doesn't want me to do it because I haven't entered a date. But you would select your assignment. You would find your course. Most of the time, it's going to recommend for you the course that it matches up with. If you are teaching third grade math, it's going to recommend that you assign it to your third grade math section. You're not going to have to go.
I've never assigned it to my classes. I just give my class the access code. So,
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so here is the online delivery options, okay? So this is how the kids log in to take it, and this is the passcode. And let me go ahead and tell you right now, change your passcode.
Yep.
You can edit it to be whatever you want it to be. So maybe
I make mine take your time.
okay, MULT, M-U-L-T, okay, or maybe Rouse 3. I mean, something simple for kids to type in, not that crazy gibberish that it gives you, okay?
But don't make it something predictable that they're going to know so that they can pop in there whenever they want. Like if you want them to take it with you, proctoring it in a classroom, make it something that they would never guess.
Yeah.
That's why I say sometimes mine is take your time, or it's a word within the content. So literally mine one time was dongle because we were learning about drivers and adapters and things like that. The kids would never guess that word because they don't even think they know what a dongle is. And then I explain it and they're like, oh, that's not a dongle. I call it this.
This is new. Allow educators to link the test to Canvas. Have you done that yet, Jen?
I haven't because none of my classes are in Schoolnet.
Oh, well, that's cool. That's a new thing. I'm going to have to play with that and see how that works.
Yeah.
Require the use of the secure tester application.
That's also new.
I will tell you what I know what it does. It locks the kids into the test and they can't go out of it. It's kind of like NC Test.
Yes.
It locks them in and they can't go Google the answers or whatever.
I mean, they still might have their cell phone, but still.
I mean, at least you know they're not doing it on the device that they're taking the test on.
Right.
Display this test on the Take a Test widget. Sometimes that, if you want, if you've assigned it to kids, only allow assigned students to take the test, restrict test access to specific days and times. So you
That's glorious.
Dial it down even more if, like Jen said, if you only want them to take it when they're with you. You can go in here and do these different item features. I have never done track and display student response time, but I can see where it would be useful in some cases.
I definitely always do that, and you can do that, and you can actually track student response time now in Canvas, and it's been glorious because I had an EC kid whose mama emailed me, and she's like, I don't understand why baby's only getting 30. Can baby retake his test? And I was like, baby had unlimited amount of time. It was open note, and it took him 3 minutes to answer 10 questions, so that's why he got a 30. So it's good to be able to send her that data and be able to say, bam.
You can scramble the question order. You can scramble the answer choices. This is great if they're all taking it in one room and you have people who have sneaky eyes who want to look at other people's screens.
I actually like it even in the virtual. I had some kids that I found out were calling each other and just saying, oh, answer to the first week or two of virtual. They didn't realize that everything was scrambled. And so one of them would take the hit for the friends. And then they would say, okay, 1 is A, 2 is B. And then everybody's like, but I got a 32. And it was scrambled.
Oh, that's funny. You can make it a time test. Like if you're trying to emulate, if you're doing a big exam review and it's a timed exam, you can do a time test. You can allow them to pause the test. Do you want them to be able to see their score upon submission? Once you've selected all your stuff, you hit save and publish.
And I do not, if they're in the classroom, I do not show them their score upon submission. Because if you have a kid that finishes in 10 minutes and you have another kid that's going to take 30 or 45 minutes, that kid that finishes in 10 minutes might get upset with their score and disrupt the other child. So I keep it from letting them see it, and then I put it in Power School. And as soon as the last kid's finished, I publish their scores and tell them to check Power School.
Cool. So it's not going to let me publish it because I don't have dates in, which is fine. But just to show you, so that's how you would schedule, that's how you would create like a math or science or social studies. Very quickly, let me show you. This is my method for creating ELA or reading test. So back up here under assessments, I go to items, rubrics, and passages. And I go to find passages and linked items. Okay, so it comes up just like this. And let's say I want to, I'm going to select my subject. Lord have mercy, it's so slow. But you got to think, it's looking at 20,000 some items right now. I think it has just like stopped. I'm gonna hit close. Let's try this again. Passages and linked items. What is it doing to me today? No, it won't come up at all. Okay.
Really quickly while you're on that page anyway, just so you guys know, those item banks that are there, you can turn on and turn them off so that it can restrict how much Schoolnet is searching. So for instance, Samantha does not need CTE things. She can go and turn it off so it does not search CTE items. If she, and you see like it shows Spanish is not currently turned on, so it's not going to search for.
I just turned it off.
So that's a really cool feature if you didn't know about that. And if you're teaching OCS students, they are working on getting test banks that are just for OCS questions.
Cool.
Really cool.
So it doesn't look like my computer is going to cooperate, and we are, running pretty long.
Yeah.
So what
and I'm getting eaten.
What I will do is I will create like a little screencast video showing how my process for that and just add it on to this post, if that's okay with everybody. Is that okay with you, Jen?
That's fine with me.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. If you have questions about Schoolnet, please reach out to us. My principal affectionately calls me the Schoolnet Queen. I seem to be the person in my building who knows the most about Schoolnet. So just ask away. If you have a particular content area that you're interested in looking at, just let us know. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and just, send your edgy soulmate over. Bye.
Yeah, bye.